is up, alienARMy? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore, and on this channel we discuss everything out of this world. So today's topic, we are going to be talking about, if you saw by the title, channeling Lilith and Satan, the 4D divine counterpart union of feminine and masculine energy. So I do just want to say, if anything about this video is going to scare you just because the name Satan was in it, then this might not be the video for you, because what happens when I channel is that different types of energies will come through to me and they will want to typically give me a message, and then I discern intuitively if it is a message that I am meant to share with the masses, for example here on YouTube. So this is a message that will resonate for a lot of you, which is the reason why I'm filming it. So buckle up, let's get started on what Lilith and Satan have to say. So in a few of my other videos, I do talk about the principle of the polarity of gender, which can be found in the Kabbalion predominantly. That is a really best example that I can convey if you want to know more about that. But basically, what is going on is that if we want to picture the polarity of feminine and masculine energy on the 5th dimensional plane, from a metaphorical perspective, we have the names Adam and Eve, Adam being the masculine principle, Eve being the feminine principle, how reality is created. So what about the essence of 4th dimensional energy? Now, 4th dimensional energy is really the realm of Satan as conveyed to me, and this is the easiest way for me to describe it, is likened to a fun house, because sometimes you're going to see the reflection from a distorted perspective. Sometimes you're going to be led into a direction that you did not even think that you were going in. So it's all about like a energetic fun house when we're talking about focus points of the human mind perspective. So the 4th dimensional plane and the 5th dimensional plane, as conveyed to me, are layered on top of each other within the 3rd dimensional realm. So anyone that is inhabiting a human vessel on the 3rd dimensional realm, they are consistently going to be shown examples of 4th dimensional energy as well as 5th dimensional energy. And the energy has no discrimination between gender. What's going on is that even in the 4D, there's always going to be a balance of the poles between the opposites, which are feminine principles and masculine principles. So what is conveyed to me, what I channeled from Lilith and Satan, basically Lilith is the feminine aspect of the 4th dimensional plane, the subconscious 4th dimensional energy. Satan is the masculine principle, the conscious 4th dimensional energy. So if we want to go back to the basics of energetic propulsion, the masculine, the Adam, the I am principle of all that is conscious, and it is knowingly projecting upon the subconscious the feminine to multiply and show that which the masculine principle desires to see. So how does this play out from a 4th dimensional perspective? Now, the 4th dimension can be likened to a dystopian society. There are all types of beings there. Not everyone is a part of the satanic mafia. There are a whole plethora of different energetic beings that reside there or traverse through there. So in a 3rd dimensional human suit, there is going to be the options presented from that age-old devil on one shoulder, angel on the other shoulder. That is a representation, because they always like to show how it really is. That is a representation of being pulled from that 3rd dimensional standpoint to either focus on a 4th dimensional fear-based perspective or focus on a 5th dimensional love-based perspective. Now, the thing with the 4th dimension is that it is not all doom and gloom. So anyone who says that there is not a positive side to that, in my view, is just not going to resonate with anything else that I'm going to say here. So So the fourth dimension has different poles. It has positive poles, it has negative poles, and it also has the principle of gender, as does everything else. The 3D has it, the 5D has it, and so on and so forth. So the Lilith energy is the feminine principle, which is going to accept and multiply that which the Satan principle, the conscious, is projecting upon it. So the two of them are going to be working together. And the messages that they have, because I am viewing them as energetic principles, they can also be personas if that's something that resonates with you, but it might not resonate for all beings that they are actually personas, because some individuals are in resonance with that there is no God, there is no Satan. So whatever works for you, but this is what is being transmitted to me to convey to those who resonate and view Satan and Lilith as energetic personas as well as energetic principles. So these two counterparts working together, uniting within the fourth dimensional plane, are going to help balance out any type of funhouse mirror type of energies, because the mind can play tricks on the observer if they are gazing at their immediate environment from a fourth dimensional perspective. So fourth dimensional energy is going to draw forth energy from the human animal more so if they are asleep than if they have awakened to fifth dimensional energy. Not to say that those who have awakened to fifth dimensional energy aren't occasionally lured back to viewing things from a fourth dimensional perspective, but typically someone who is operating primarily only out of their third dimensional ego mind, ego vessel, the 4D, just because it's in closer proximity than 5D to the third dimensional plane, is going to win out because it's more easily recognized to someone who is operating from a human suit vantage point on the third dimensional plane. It's simply closer, so it's more convenient, because to attain even knowledge of the fourth dimensional plane, which you have if you're watching a video like this, you have already graduated to the level of the fifth dimensional plane of consciousness and above, because one from only a third dimensional vantage point cannot see and look into what the fourth dimensional plane is about. They simply cannot, because it is above it. Someone who has broken through to a fifth dimensional perspective and above is able to easily look down and see the implications of how the fourth dimension influences the third dimension. FYI, take a shot every time I say dimension. You'd be feeling nice after this. So either which way, what Lilith and Satan wanted me to convey to you all is that there is always going to still be a breakdown of the polarity of gender, even on the fourth dimensional plane. So how may this manifest in someone's third dimensional experience? Lilith, from the fourth dimensional perspective, that subconscious energy, might be able to multiply fear-based illusions going on within the funhouse. Because remember, even though the energy is conscious and willfully commanding the subconscious, the Lilith, to multiply that which it is focusing on, it is focusing on, from their conscious standpoint, from reality that is from a skewed perspective. So what in essence is happening, someone on the third dimensional plane can be lulled into believing that the funhouse is real, can be lulled into believing that the matrix is real. And the fourth dimensional mind matrix is really the Lord of Illusions when it has soul governance over someone who is predominantly operating out of a third dimensional mode. So when someone, let's just say an example, not you or I, but I'm sure you know someone from a third dimensional mode, this individual is closer in proximity to fourth dimensional energy, the fun house mirror. So its consciousness is knowingly observing a reflection that is not truly what it is from that fun house mirror vantage point. And then it is consciously, from a fear-based consciousness, because it's conscious of a fear, which is a distortion of what really is going to command the subconscious, the Lilith aspect, to multiply and show fruit of that which was being projected upon, even though it was false. So this is how, when we know that we are all divine creators, but I'm sure some of you have had experiences perhaps earlier along on your journey where you've created something that you knew was born of a fear. You're like, oh shit, what just happened? Well, what just happened is that you are such a conscious creator that you, even though you were focused on something that was an illusion, something that was a distortion in the funhouse, because you were conscious of it, your Satan aspect, the illusion, your I am consciousness, the knowing, the Satan aspect, the Satan luring in of look at me, projected upon the fourth dimensional subconscious mind, the Lilith aspect, and said, I am focusing upon this, go forth and multiply it, even though it was born of fear. That's why sometimes people can be having anxious ruminations about pick a topic, any topic, and then that very thing happens. Sometimes they can look at themselves and be like, but I don't want this. Why would that have been created? But I'm sure if you look back, if you turn back the pages just a little bit, you will see that at some point in time, your conscious was focused knowingly that that fear-based thing was going to show itself in your third dimensional physical reality. And that is how fear-based illusions are born. Whereas love-based illusions, 5D and above, it is the same concept of conscious creation, but it is a conscious creation of knowing that all that is and ever will be already is. It's not a conscious creation of an illusion that the monkey mind can sometimes be seduced into producing. So Lilith and Satan are representatives of the masculine principle of projecting and commanding the feminine principle of what it desires to see, because it's still desiring to see that funhouse illusion be played out in real life. And it desires it because, remember, the subconscious aspect doesn't care if you're looking at it from a perspective of love or fear. It's just like, okay, this is the command, this is what I'm going to execute. So some illusions that I'm guided to share with you are that you can tell you're in the fear-based funhouse, the funhouse of fear, when there is a constricted, closed off feeling around your heart, feeling around your chest, feeling somewhere in your center. It can also disrupt the lower chakras as well, so there might be some lower chakra issues going on, and I'm not going to get into detail here, but you can look up the physical side effects of imbalances in the lower chakras. Remember, because with the fourth dimensional energy, the heart chakra, the green light, is essentially being cast upon from that red energy. The color red, from what is conveyed to me, is just what the human animals notice right away. It's the number one color if you want to grab the attention of a human animal. So anyone in a human suit is a mammal from the fourth dimensional perspective. From Satan's viewpoint, from Lilith's viewpoint, they view those in human suits as animals. So what do the animals gravitate towards? The color red. Don't ask me why, I don't know, but I'm sure you found signs of it in your third dimensional experience many, many times. So red, if we want to look at red, it is the root chakra color and the bridge betwixt the upper chakras and the lower chakras is green. So the red essentially is canceling out the green energy of the heart center. Now, I don't know if red and green are actually opposites on the color wheel. I have no idea, but in this instance, from a metaphorical point of view, the red has overcome the green and now it is stamping out the natural flotation of the heart chakra. So someone is going to be entrapped by a false perspective because the heart chakra now is having a blockage of red lower chakra energy, and it's not allowing the energy to flow through the one in the human suit. Now the energy is just backed up, and it's because there's a traffic jam in the heart chakra, and the lower chakras are essentially going to overcompensate for the lack of energy that is able to flow to the upper chakras. So what Lilith and Satan energy essentially is explaining here is that even when someone is viewing things from a fear-based fourth dimensional perspective, that energy can be multiplied. This is why sometimes people have a fear occur out in their third dimensional environment. But this is someone who is not in recognition of the signs of fear-based energy. So if you are one that can read auras of people, a muddy red type of energy where you might find anywhere within them, especially around the heart chakra, that is going to be an indicator that they are operating primarily from the lower chakra type of energy. Also, when someone is operating from a third dimensional point of view predominantly, the color red is going to be very significant to them because that is the thing that their consciousness deems as being in closest proximity to them. They are not going to really receive messages well unless there is something in it that is red based. I'm not talking about if someone just likes the color red, that's their favorite color, but you are going to notice that things with red in them will be predominantly the things that draw that individual's attention. So if someone is operating primarily from their lower chakras, the color red or fourth dimensional energy is going to be the thing that grabs their attention the quickest. This is why stop signs are red. So why you have a red light, it indicates stop, no more moving, essentially a blockage. You're blocking those cars from moving into the intersection, things like that. And why is this? I don't know the actual material reasons why, but I can tell you from a metaphorical and spiritual vantage point, red it gets the humans to notice. The human animals see red, they're like, ooh, like it's like you're conducting a experiment with lab animals and you're seeing which type of food scent attracts them more or whatnot. And this is just what the fourth dimensional energies have concluded with, that at this time the color red grabs the human attention. So when we're working with, because remember, even those who have evolved and graduated to a fifth dimensional perspective and above, they still might have some instances where the 4D plane, because remember, when someone is in a third dimensional vessel, they are not entirely in 5D, so there is a part of their monkey mind that can be lured, can be beguiled into entering that fun house of fear. So when this happens, a lot of times, this is also why typically you hear that stereotypical expression, like when someone got super angry, they saw red. I'm gonna drop the mic and walk away. You get the idea, okay? So if you are starting to notice a lot of red, if you are starting to see a lot of red, if things that are red are really calling to you, you will notice that you are in a vibration of perhaps more a fourth dimensional vantage point than a fifth dimensional vantage point, because from the fifth dimensional perspective, there are no blockages, so therefore the heart center is open and all of the chakras are functioning at their perfect, harmonious, balanced capacity. So typically when one is operating from the fifth dimensional standpoint, they are not really going to notice the color red. They are not really going to notice blockages. They're not going to notice roadblocks. Even if there is a big bulldozer blocking the path, they are just not going to see it. They are going to simply walk around it without even thinking. Whereas someone who is being lured into a fourth dimensional fear-based outcome is going to see that big bulldozer in the road, and all of a sudden they are going to automatically just think to themselves, stop, cannot go further, the road is blocked. So someone is going to be seeing potential hindrances in their third dimensional experience, whereas someone who is operating from a fifth dimensional vantage point is going to be just seeing open pathways and free flowing traffic in their third dimensional experience. So with the energies of Lilith and Satan, how to balance them is to as well concentrate on the other pole, which is going on in the fourth dimension, the positive aspect of it and the negative aspect of it. So I have another video where I talked about this, probably why it led me to, channeling Lilith and Satan, just so I could have a little groundwork laid out before I describe this next concept. But either which way, the other pole that I speak about of the fourth dimensional plane is occult symbolism. We can look at it as occult symbolism, are those fourth dimensional energies are beckoning the seeker to awaken, to see what's really going on. Or we can look at fourth dimensional symbolism as like a gloating type of energy. Well, we're doing this and you can't do shit about it. So to operate effectively, to come to peaceful harmony, rectifying the energy of the Satan conscious, willful energy of the fourth dimension, balancing that with the Lilith subconscious multiplication of that fourth dimensional energy. Before we get into all of that, what can be done is, so as to not be lured by that, is to view any potential roadblock, any potential red light, any potential stop sign as this is showing me that the path truly is open and I am free to roam, because from my state of mind, I know that I have the option as a creator to create from a fear-based illusion of the funhouse, or I can proceed to move along this roadblock and I can continue to create from a love-based vibration. Because, and I'm speaking metaphorically, okay? I'm not saying literally if you're at a red light, just go through it. No, don't do that, okay? I am speaking in metaphors. That's what I do. So if one were to see a red light, if we want to look at that red light from the vantage point of a positive aspect of the fourth dimensional polarity, we can see that as, why is this red light coming into our path? What do we need to reevaluate within ourselves in order to proceed around that red light? So typically what's going on with Satan energy and Lilith energy is that they're showing you what the roadblocks are. They're showing you what the hindrances that you are perceiving in your mind are, and they are essentially like with this big red light, because they know you're gonna fucking notice it in a human suit, right? Like, because that's what I just explained. They know that that is the only way for them to get your attention fast. That is the only way. The color red. The color red, something to do with humans and their biological makeup. I don't know what it is. If I get more information, I'll share it with you. But at this point, I don't know. I just know that they were conducting experiments. They said the human animals notice the color red more so than any other color that they can see with their color spectrum, whatever the fuck. Don't know the technical terms, don't care what the technical terms are. We do everything philosophically and metaphorically over here. So Lilith and Satan energy, when they are essentially attempting to help the individual rise up out of their own false perception, they are going to toss those red lights at you. And what your job is to do is, well, why do I think that I have a blockade over here? The road is open. I'm merely seeing this red light, but there's no cars coming. What do I do? And that is the time to go in, self-evaluate, look at the positive pole of the fourth dimensional plane and say, oh, okay, that was something that I wasn't aware that was going on within me. That was something that I had no idea of. Thank you for showing me, for pointing the way of what my own blockages are. And this can be said of anyone. So whensoever one sees a roadblock, a red light, anything like that, it will typically jump out at them out of nowhere, like ding, 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 hello, trying to get your attention, because at that point, the energy from the fourth dimensional perspective, the Satan willful energy, is really on the precipice of commanding the Lilith subconscious energy to create something born of fear, born of something that wasn't even real to begin with. It was a mere illusion. So what roadblocks, what red lights, what potential hindrances do you have in a particular area that might be considered a hindrance or an obstacle in regards to you progressing along the path that you want to journey on? It doesn't have to be something negative. It's just that something like that is going to feel constricted. The color red is going to come into play. I don't know how, but that is a message for a few of you. And that is how you will know that the path that you are walking upon is not going to serve you well. It is time to look at why there is a stop sign or a red light being presented to you in the moment, and to think outside of the box, think from above that fourth dimensional vantage point into the 5D, elevate, then you can see the entire road from a fifth dimensional perspective and above. Then you can be like, oh, I know why that red light is there. There is a truck in the middle of the freeway up ahead. The red light, which I could not see, and we're all talking metaphorically, and the red light here is letting me know that there is something up ahead that I might do better to skirt away from. And then it shows you what that upcoming potentiality is from the fifth dimensional perspective, and then you can simply go another route where it's smooth sailing, smooth driving, whatever the case may be for you. So that's the message that I have relayed from the divine counterparts of the fourth dimensional plane, the Satan, the masculine, the conscious, willful energy, the Lilith, the subconscious, the multiplier of fourth dimensional energy. They are showing you the roadblocks that might be in your path in order for you to elevate above them from and view things from a different perspective. I am Oculus, the alien next door, and we will chit chat again soon.